All right, let's do this. I'm gonna send an invite to my guests. Yay!
I just need to get the right. Hmm.
I'm so excited.
Hi,
Hello, good to see you.
good to see you too, Doreen. How are you?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
I'm good. Sorry, connection problems, but hopefully now it will be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna go straight to the point because everybody wants to know. Do you share with us your journey so far, homeschooling, why you started?
Okay. I'm so happy. I'm so okay. I'm sorry. I have someone here who is refusing to sleep,
Yeah,
but yeah, we can go ahead. We can start.
yeah. You know how we do.
Hopefully he'll
You know how we do. This is our expertise. Yeah, let's do this.
sleep.
Yeah, so how did you start homeschooling? What made you do it? Tell us about your journey so far.
Okay. My name is Tanda. I'm actually, I think we are on our fourth year of homeschooling, formally so. We've always wanted to homeschool, but to be honest with you, I didn't even know if it was possible to do it in South Africa because there was no one that I knew that was doing it.
Uh-huh.
So we did our research, but I think I didn't do so much research because by the time my kids had to go to school, I was still, undecided. Must we keep them at home or must we send them at school? That's my eldest. So we did send them at school, and then they did grade R. And then when they were going for grade one, grade R is like kindergarten. So when they were going for grade one, that's when we decided to pull them out.
Why?
So, sorry?
Why?
Um, well, to be honest, at that time it was in 2020, so it was during the lockdown. So I think it was more the lockdown kind of helped. When it happened, I was like, oh, God has been telling us to do this thing. Because even at the beginning of the year, we were so unsure whether we should send them to school or not. And then when the lockdown happened around, I think was it March or April that time? So we were all forced to stay with our kids at home. And then that's when we decided that no, we're pulling them out. And by that time, it was actually a very crazy phase in my life because I was pregnant with our fifth daughter, and
Wow.
I was pregnant with our fifth daughter. My twins were doing grade one, and then there were other two kids between the pregnancy and the twins. So it was a very rough timing. It was not perfect at all. But then I just thought to myself, if we could do it, under those circumstances, surely we can do it with better circumstances. So that's how it happened really. We just pulled them out and then we started doing it formally. So I'm saying formally so because um like I'm saying, I've always wanted to homeschool. So even when they were still going to school, I was that parent that will come in the evening and teach them. And, I couldn't wait for weekends because I'll spend time with them, teach them a skill, anything really. I was just that parent. I wanted to be involved in their learning experience. So when we decided to formally homeschool them, it was like, as much as it was difficult to take that decision, but I think I was more relieved after some time, obviously, that now we're doing it full time. And then that's how it started, really. And then the other children, they kept on joining, as the years go by. My third born has joined. Now my fourth born is doing grade R this year. and my fifth born is in preschool. So it's kept on going like that. But that's how we actually started.
Wow. You said that you've always wanted to homeschool. Like, I want to know the reason. What made you, what sparked that interest?
A number of reasons, to be honest, but just if I can highlight a few, just to spend time with my kids, and to also to make sure that I don't know what's the right word, like preserve their childhood from a number of things that we don't agree as a family, you know, the things that we see outside. So there's certain things that we wish we can just protect our children from that. And also just to be the primary influencer, you know, in our children's lives. So yes, of course, there are a number of reasons, but I think those are the main ones. And there's just so many things, like, you know, you get a chance to teach your kids family values and whatever that you believe in, you know, when you homeschool. So those are just some of the things that I've always desired to do. But to be honest, I never thought it was possible, especially in my case, because I was working and the kids, and I'm just thinking, how is this thing gonna work out, you know? So it was like a dream that I never thought I'll be able to live. And also, can I just add that, to be honest, I'm in South Africa, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure whether it was legal to homeschool, you know, so I wasn't even sure if this was something that was legal, that I could legally do it, but it is legal. So yeah.
Wow. That reminds me, you are an engineer, right?
Yes,
What?
I'm a civil engineer.
Wow. So how do you manage your career and the school?
Um, Over the years, it has been different, hey, because I've changed environments, like working environments. But what is working for us is waking up very early, waking the kids very early, and then do school, like do the core subjects or the things that they might need help from me, and then I just leave other sorry. I leave other work that they can do on their own when I'm gone, and then they can do that when I'm gone.
Uh-huh. Wow. So that means that, oh, that sounds good. So you wake up early, then they have their core stuff that they do, and then once you are home, it's more like free play. Once you're working, it's more like free play and stuff that they are interested in, like maybe art or whatever. Oh, okay.
Yes, more like that. And also, the older kids can read now, right? So some of the work they can do on their own. So I do encourage independence because I need that
Yes,
with
yes.
such a big family. So to be honest, some of the things they can read the instructions and then do the work on their own. And then when I come back, I can attend to whatever questions that they might have, and yeah, whatever that maybe they were struggling with, and so on. But we do find our way around it. And also, I think you also need to plan better, you know, if you will
Mhm.
be working away from home, for
Yeah,
those days when you'll be away from home, what they will be doing, just know what they'll be doing. And you can almost sense, or you'll know as a parent where they will struggle and where they will need your
yeah,
help, and then you can help them with that. Maybe in the morning or when you come back, you can help them with that. And then on other days, if you are home, then you know how to do like combined lessons even, you know, and yeah, you just find a way to make it work for you.
Wow, I like that. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, that you can always mold it to fit the kind of family that you are. If you are working family, if you are a big family, that's the part that I love about homeschooling. So my next question is, everybody wants to know, especially back home, like Africa, Ghana, people want to know socialization. How do you integrate the children into their community? It's a big question that I always get. So I'm putting it on you.
Yeah, I know. I also always get that question, hey? I always get that question, but I think we mustn't forget that when we homeschool, we're not saying we're taking the children away from society. That's first of all. We're not taking the children away from society. The children are still, they can still have friends that go to school. They can still
I
have,
need to be writing notes. I need to be writing some notes because I like all your points. Like it's hitting me. But anyway, I'll rewatch. I'll rewatch. Yeah, continue.
so the children, we are not taking them away from the society. They'll still be in the society. In fact, they will be exposed to a lot of that, a lot of opportunities for them to socialize. You go with them to the shops, or you go with them wherever. When you're running errands, you go with them, you know, because they're always there with you, unlike when they were at school. And there are a lot of things that you can do. Sports, you know, your homeschool children can do sports. My children do sports. There's church. They get to have friends at church. They're just normal children. It's not as weird as it sounds to people, you know. And also, it's not like you boxing them, or you just keeping them inside your home. Like I'm saying, you're always on the run with them. In my case, I'm always children, you know, like wherever I'm going,
I've had enough. I don't want to go out. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, so it's not as bad as you might think it is, but if you are really concerned, you can be intentional about it. Like if maybe you want to expose your child to a certain group, maybe you want to expose them to their peers, and then you can just sign up for swimming, for sports, for soccer, for any kind of sport that your child is interested in, and then they can do that. Or you can just use the families, the family friends that you have, and your family, your own family. They have cousins, you know, they have aunts, they have everyone. So you can just be intentional if you really are concerned in exposing them in that. But other than that, even if you were to just live your day-to-day life, you will be exposing them to a number of opportunities for them to basically socialize. Going to the library, you know, going to the library, speaking to the librarian, speaking to the kids they find there, going to playgrounds, going for co-ops if you're interested in that. There's just a number of things that you can do as a parent to expose your children, to make sure that they socialize. Also, as a homeschooling family, I feel you get to see them socialize, you know, which is something that we don't have that opportunity if your child maybe is going to school. Because even if your child is a bully or your child is being bullied, it will take some time for you as a parent to actually recognize that maybe my child is a bully or my child is bullied. But when you homeschool, you get to see those things, even if your child is a bully. So you can see those things, and you can just address those things there and there, and just mold the children to be the best version of themselves, basically.
Yeah.
So I think if you're homeschooling, or if you're spending time with your children, you get to see those things, and you can address them if there are certain issues that needs to be addressed much quicker than if your child was going to a normal school.
Okay. Thank you for that. And so you did mention that you guys have co-ops, because people don't think like you have co-ops. You have co-ops where you are?
Yes, we do. We do. Even though I'm not a big fan personally, but there are co-ops, like like I said, there are families. There are a number of families. In fact, once I started sharing my homeschool journey, that's when I realized that there are actually a lot of families that homeschool around me, and I've met a lot of people online, you know, and then other people you'll meet online, and then you can just meet in person as well. So yes, they are co-ops, and other people, they make their own, I don't know what to call them, like just homeschool groups. They just have like play dates, you know, and then you can just meet with those people if that's what you prefer. Or you can continue with the normal play dates with anyone, whether those children homeschool or they don't homeschool, and you can just continue with that, because children are just children.
Totally. I just really love that, because I think when people think about socialization, they are not really thinking about it. It's just that buzzword. Because really, what is socialization?
True.
Yeah. So
No,
sometimes,
very true.
yeah, go on.
No, I'm saying that's very true because mostly people will think about those hours between 8 and 2 o'clock, whatever the time the children are spending at school. And then they're thinking if your child is not going to school, then they're not gonna socialize and they won't have friends and this and this and that, of which it's not like the children at school are spending those hours, all of those hours socializing. No, they also have limited time, when they socialize. Yes, I agree, they're exposed to a lot of children their age, but that's not the real world even, It's not the real world. In the real world, you don't live with 8-year-olds. You live with 30-year-olds, 12-year-olds, you live with people with different ages, different experience, from different groups, man, like from different cultures, different races, that's the real world. So the real world is not only the peers, your child will not just be living like that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing about homeschool is to change your mindset. And because most of us, we grew up in this system, it's really hard to like, oh, so that's not true. I always say that if a person is able to face themselves and say something that I've known for a long time it's a lie, they are a strong person, because a lot of people won't agree. It's easy to just be like, yeah, that's the way to go, than to say, okay, this is a lie and I need to change. I need to retrace my steps. So yeah, I always encourage people, socialization is not what you think. In the real world, you are not sitting with your age mates. You are meeting somebody at the store. You are talking to someone at the post office. That is how you meet people, and you talk and you learn. In school, what's happening there is just a structure. It's just an organism, that organization that has been created so that they can do things that they want to do. It's got nothing to do with how human beings have to behave and live and move. So I thank you for sharing that. And the last question that I want to ask you is about curriculum. Maybe you can just a little bit intro about what curriculums you use, your best advice to parents about curriculum, because sometimes curriculum can get crazy. Like people would like, buy this, I buy that, I buy. So
Yeah.
what you use and your best advice to people who are starting.
I'm not sure if I'm so sorry. It's just
You don't apologize. You don't apologize. Every parent watching this knows. Every parent knows. As a matter of fact, I was like, oh, this baby is calm, because being in your arm and talking, they always want to know what's going on. Like, why am I just sitting here? Why is she not throwing me? Why is she not throwing me up and down and doing something? No,
what's wrong? Why is she speaking and looking at the phone?
Yeah, that's why she was trying to hold your mouth. They are so smart. Like they observe so much.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was saying, I'm not sure if I have the right experience, but from what I've seen, so when we started, right, we used a South African service provider for our curriculum. So it was a boxed curriculum. So you get everything inside the box, like you have your life skills in there, your English, they were doing 2 languages, so it was English and Afrikaans. You get your math, everything basically, it comes in a box. And then now we've taken a slightly different approach of just selecting everything, like more, sorry. We've taken a different approach now. We're just mixing things depending on what we want to teach our children. For example, for Bible, I used to buy curriculum, but for the past 2 years, we've been using our own family thingy that I've developed of how to study the Bible with with the kids.
Yeah.
And I just saw that that was working for us. So that's what we're doing. And then for life skills, I also have I've broken it down into like units. Like this is what we will be focusing on. Like right now, my children just finished doing our what you call this thing, first aid. First aid. So I was just teaching them those skills, first aid skills. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, that's the approach that we've been doing. The approach that we now, I think we're adapting so far. That's what was working for us. So for isiZulu, okay, we're doing in South Africa. We have to do English and then additional language. So with us, we're doing 3 languages. So we're doing English, isiZulu, which is our mother tongue, and then we're also doing Afrikaans. So for isiZulu and Afrikaans, we're using local service providers for that. And then for English, with the older one, we're using the Good and the Beautiful for their language arts. And then for math, we're using Math Mammoth. That's, yeah, we've been loving that. So that's the one that we are currently using. And then we're also using teaching textbooks for the older ones. What else? For science, history, and geography, we're doing the units approach. So it depends. Sometimes it's just a book from the library. Sometimes it's maybe a unit from the Good and the Beautiful or from whoever, really. I wish there was a commercial. I would say let's go on a break.
That's the beauty of homeschooling. You can take a break right now. We can take a break right now. But yeah, I mean, that was my last question for you. And thank you so much for coming. I hope to talk to you more in the future. I want us to talk about, some of the challenges and how we deal with those challenges, because people are like, well, it's so hard. Like, we do hard every day. You do hard at your workplace. You do hard everywhere. So it's more about if you want it. And I like some of the things you said. I'm going to watch this video again. So thank you for coming. Yeah. Kisses to the baby. Thank you.
Can I just add, ne?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, there's a part of your question I didn't answer. I'm just thinking as you were saying a goodbye, is that any advice that I can give to any parent, whether you're getting started or you're choosing a curriculum.
Yes.
I think the most important thing is to do you. Okay? Like, don't commit to a curriculum just because maybe it was too expensive. Because sometimes you might feel like I've invested a lot, so I have to make this thing work, Don't commit to it. If it's no longer working for you or for your family, it's no longer working. Or don't commit to a curriculum because it was too cheap. I got it for free. I have to use it, I'm saving money. If it's not working for you, it's not working for you. And if you feel like you need to change maybe for one child and then you don't need to change for the other child, it's okay. It's okay for children to use different curriculum. It's not to say you're giving them different education, but you're just trying your best to give them what you think is best for them. So I think those 2 points for me are very important. I actually did a video a while ago, I think last year, when I was talking about that, because I felt the same thing, that when you have to make a decision. We wanted to change a curriculum in the middle of the year, and I was feeling so guilty. Feeling guilty for the time we've already invested in this curriculum, feeling guilty for my child, that I feel like if maybe I change, I'll be disadvantaging her. She won't be able to finish the curriculum. She won't be able to, do you understand all those things? She'll be behind because she won't be able to finish by December and all those things. So I actually sat down. I was like, but why am I feeling all of this? And I made a video where I was sharing, I think there were 5 things, or if not more, things that to avoid when you're choosing a homeschool curriculum, and also don't be misled by the big names. If the curriculum is good, as a good representative, It
get there.
doesn't mean you want to work for your family. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because sometimes we think we want to, when we're speaking with whether fellow homeschoolers or with anyone, you know, we want to mention this curriculum that my child is using this. It's not the curriculum that will determine the quality of your child's education. Yes, the curriculum will play a role, but there are a number of things that we as parents that we can do to enhance their education and to make sure that we give them quality education and give them something that is even more than what the curriculum is offering, you know. So just using big names, saying, okay, just because this one is well known, and then I'm saying I'm gonna go with it, and if it's not working, the problem is me, you know, it's not the curriculum, it can't be the curriculum. That is not correct, you know. That is not correct. Actually, when you're getting started, I think it's best to rather don't commit to anyone. Rather, don't commit to any curriculum. Try and understand your children, you know. Try and understand how your children learn. See what they like. See what you like. And also see how you learn, you know, because the parent who will be homeschooling, it's important for them to know how they learn. Because sometimes you might think something is difficult for a child, only to find out it's difficult for you because that's not your learning style. And maybe if you were to understand your child better and their learning style, you'll see that it is actually good for them. So if possible, avoid committing to a curriculum soon. Rather, spend time with your child. Try and enjoy the initial phase of homeschooling, and don't feel like your child is gonna be behind.
No.
No, no,
No.
they're not gonna they're not going to be behind, and behind who?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be behind. So just spend that time in doing your research on how your children learn, on how you learn, and then trying to find something that will work for you. If it's not working, change, you know. And I always feel like I said, it's our fourth year, right? It's our fourth year.
Yeah.
Right, 2020 or 48, I think it's our 48 of homeschooling. But I feel we're still learning things, you know. I'm still trying things and seeing if something's not working, we're changing it. If it's not working, we're changing it. So just keep on doing that until you find the thing that works for your family. And once you found it, your life will be much easier and you would enjoy teaching your children. Your children will also enjoy learning with you. So a curriculum can make or break, really, because it can really break your homeschool. It can cause a lot of frustration for a parent, and a frustrated parent will definitely frustrate their children, and it won't be a good experience for anyone, you know, in your family. So just take it easy, babe. Take it easy, whether it's free or it's expensive or it has a big name or whatever the case might be. Just do your research, try what you want to try, and then if it's not working, try something else.
Yeah. Because we want our kids to
Yeah.
enjoy learning. We don't want our
Yeah.
kids.
And it's quite a challenge for us. Maybe for you guys that side it's better, because with Africans, there are not a lot of African curricula that we can choose from, you know. And sometimes some Western countries' curricula, they'll be great, right? But they might be missing that element, you know, that you're like, but it's missing this, or maybe the way they interpret things is like, but it's not really like that, you know. So maybe for people like in your case, maybe it's easier to get a variety of options to choose from, you know. But we can't change that, you know. Just have to just keep on trying and seeing what works for our families. And I think also that's the other beauty of homeschool, that even though we are in Africa, we can still use curriculum that is used maybe in UK or maybe in the USA or wherever, you know. So I think that's the beauty of it, that you can try different resources around the world, really.
Yeah, I love that. My pastor used to say that if you see something, a need or something that bothers you and there's no one doing it, that means you have to go find the solution to that. So I always tell people, if there's no like community where you are, nobody's meeting up, then invite people to meet at your house. If you really need people to play, tell them Saturday evening, come and play soccer in my yard every week, once a week. And if the curriculum, because a lot, even here, not only in South Africa, even here, people cry about curriculum, like, oh, they didn't put this in the curriculum, why didn't they cover this? It's worse here, especially with the whole African Americans and all these, the history. So people are always like, oh, they didn't include this. But I'm like, then it is your job to put what you think is supposed to be there. Somebody has done that. They've done what they can do. It is your time now as a family to see what you can fit in. So I love that you mentioned that, the curriculum is not what determines the success. It's you and your family. So do what your children, go with where you're not going, how you learn. If you want more African studies, then maybe it's time to create some African studies based on how your children wake up, what they do, eat. So I really love that you mentioned that. Thank you so much. And being intentional, you also mentioned that, like, we should be intentional. So if you want, then be intentional about it and create it. Yeah, I enjoyed this conversation. Is my baby asleep?
Falling asleep now.
It became quiet. It became suddenly quiet.
Yes. No, it's such a beautiful conversation, and I hope you continue with this, because they do help just to hear different perspectives from different families and hearing their challenges wherever they are, across the world, really. So it is really interesting to learn from each other.
Yeah. I want us to dig more into the, the challenges and the benefits, like what keeps you going. I mean, because the baby is sleeping, maybe you can tell us before you go, what keeps you going? I want to know that, because a lot of people are like, oh, because I reached this hard part, then I should just quit. So I want to know, like, on those days where it's hard, like, man, it's not flowing, what's going on? This one is crying about this. Oh, I'm behind work. Oh, this is not organized. Why don't you just stop?
That's a very interesting question, hey?
Sorry.
And
Sorry for
it's an interesting question, and I think what fuels me is Christ first and foremost. Sometimes when you feel like what you're just saying, when you feel like things are just going west and you're like, what's happening, I think for me, what helps me is just stopping, like just having a break, whether for that, like there and there, like saying, you know what, okay, let me just stop, because I'm not feeling it. And sometimes, as a big family, I have 6 children, right? And sometimes the youngest might be fuzzy, like he was just now, and then someone maybe is asking me an obvious question, so you can be very frustrated and say, like, okay, you know what, I'm losing it. Or sometimes it's not even the children, you're just so disorganized and things are just crumbling down, like you are behind everywhere, you're not checking your children's work, you're just feeling behind. But I think for me, first, like I said, it's Christ, obviously. Just going back to the why. Why did we start doing this? I can't easily quit saying, no, I'm no longer doing it, because it's a very big decision for our family. So I just need to pause and see really, like, what is the real problem? Am I the problem, or what is the real problem? So just taking those breaks, whether it means a break in responding there and there, using whatever, saying, okay, let me just pause now, or a break in maybe for a day, or maybe just decide, you know what, I'm just going to take my children to the lake. It does not make sense, but just going outside, we're just going to go, they're going to play outside, we're not going to do school, like, we're stopping now. So those things are important for me to keep me going, you know, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling like I want to quit now, like right now. It just helps me to reflect, to stop and then think like, oh, okay, you know, I can't really quit, you know. And I think you also need I don't know whether to call it like a support system,
Yeah.
you know, like people that you cry with and on and
Yeah.
you know. And for me, it's mostly my husband. He doesn't get the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, so my husband or maybe my family, my mom, you know, someone that you can just tell, you know, someone can say like, oh, I'm feeling this and this and this and this and that. Because
Yeah.
sometimes after just speaking about something, you might feel better, or maybe yes, like it out. Like, yeah, it's out. Even if the other person is not giving you any advice, but for them to just listen to you speak, you know, as you are speaking, you might yourself see the solution. Or as you are speaking, you might feel like, oh, okay, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. And then you continue. But I think just to go back to your question, keeping your why, you know, just knowing why you're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
this. And if this is important, so you can't just easily say, okay, because I'm having a bad day and these kids are demanding too much of me, you know what, go to school. I can't easily do that because I know why I started doing this. And I know what I'm hoping to invest, like in their lives and in their education and so on. So keeping the why, Christ, and I think the support system, yeah, let me call it that.
Wow. You have educated, like, you've tell, I don't even know what to say. Like, I didn't bargain. Like, when I was thinking I'm going to have a conversation with you, I was like, oh, we're just going to talk. I've learned so much in this, even to me, like, especially this part of when you want to, you know, it's too much. It can get too much. Like, just saying, you know what, it's okay to take a break. Nobody is going to be behind. And behind who?
Mhm.
Behind
Then
who?
who?
They're on their own journey, you know. So I really
Mm.
love that. I appreciate being coming here and just, you know, talking about how you homeschool and sharing with us. So thank you. We are expecting you to come back again and, you know, have more conversations. A lot of people ask
No.
me like, what's in it for you? Like, are you selling something? I'm like, no, these are seeds that I'm sowing. You know, in the olden days, you have like a mother pass down some sort of knowledge to you
Mm.
and you pass it on to your children. We don't have that anymore. Most of the knowledge you have
Mm.
to go to school to get it. Like, they package it and then you pay a lot. So these are seeds that I'm sowing. Even if you are watching this and you're not gonna homeschool, maybe your granddaughter will need to be homeschooled and be like, oh, I remember these two ladies. So yeah, that's all we are doing, just sowing the seeds,
No,
just
that's
sowing the,
beautiful.
yeah.
It it's beautiful what you're doing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. And I also do similar thing, you know, on my YouTube channel. I've invited
What?
people where they share their journey and we talk about
Oh,
different things because I feel we can learn from each other, you know.
yeah.
We can learn from your journey by
Mm,
whatever that you're sharing. I'm like, oh, okay, I never thought of it this way, you
yeah.
know, or maybe I can even connect with you, which is something very important, you know, for homeschooling families to have people, you know, I can just, you know, text you, say, hey, I feel like quitting, or
Yes.
hey, can you advise on this?
Mm,
I'm facing this and this and that. So what you're doing is really beautiful,
yeah.
and I hope people get value from these talks. And yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful. Keep it up. You
What's your
must
home?
continue with.
What's your home? Sorry, your YouTube channel. What's the name of your
Uh,
YouTube channel?
I'm Tanda Klaba. So
Okay, I'm gonna.
it's Thanda. Yeah, you can just, but on my Instagram it's linked on my bio.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes it
Mhm.
easy. Okay. All right. Thank you
Yes.
for coming in. Have a good night. I know it's really late there. So sleep well and
Yeah. But-
have a happy week. The week begins. Da 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 da.
So
Bye
thank you so
bye.
much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. I keep
Bye.
thanking you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.